Hi there. Welcome to today's episode of my 30-day journey on fractions, where I try to collate and solve all fractions word problems that are essentially and specially selected from common entrance past questions, JSSE, SSC, and even SAT, which is standard aptitude test. Okay, so before I delve into today's lesson, please be kind and generous enough to click on the subscription button below this video to get notified of subsequent videos after this, and of course of more educative and academic lessons like this. See you in a bit. Okay, so let's look at our first question for today. The question says a rectangular farm is 600 meters long and 200 meters wide. If 1/3 of it is used for planting rice, what is the area of the remaining land in hectares? Okay, so now to go about this question, first of all, we take it bit by bit. A rectangular farm is 600 meters long and 200 meters wide. Now, what does this explain? This explains area of a farmland. So that means we first of all have to find the total area of the rectangular farmland. Okay, so area of a rectangle or of the rectangular farmland is length times breadth. And as it is in the information, the farmland is 600 meters long, which represents the length, and then it is 200 meters wide, which represents the width. So we go by this. So we said the area of the farmland is equal to 600 meter by 200 meter. Now 6 times 2, that will give us 12, and then the 2 zeros behind 600 and 200, we make it 120,000 square meters. So the area of the farmland is 120,000 meters square. So now that we've found the area of the farmland, the question proceeds to say that if 1/3 of it is used for planting rice, so I am going to tag that as rice farm. So rice farm. Now, they said the rice farm is 1/3 of this entire land, 1/3 of the entire land, as it is in the information that if 1/3 of it is used for planting rice. So I tag that as rice farm, and then 1/3 of the entire farmland. So 1/3 means 1/3 times 120,000 meters squared. Okay, so 3 in 1 and 3 in 12 will give you 4, and then the entire zero behind the 12, we are going to insert it there. So that is going to be 40,000 meters square. So 1 times 40,000. So the area of for the rice farm, or the portion for the rice farm, is 40,000 meters square. Now that we found the portion or the area that is a portion for the farm rice, so let's look at the next part of the question. So what is the area of the remaining land? So now, if we now know what the rice farmland is out of the entire farmland, so we now need to find the remaining farmland by simply taking away the portion or the square meter or the area of the rice farm from the entire farmland. So how do we do that? We just simply write remaining land. Remaining land is equal to, so to find the remaining land, we take away the portion, the area of the rice farm from the area of the total land. So that will be 120,000 minus 40,000. So 120,000 minus 40,000 will give us 80,000. So the area of the remaining farmland is 80,000 meters square. But then this is not over, because the question categorically says what is the area of the remaining land in hectares? In hectares. So that means we have to convert the square meters of the remaining land into hectares. So hectares is a kind of unit of measurement for measuring a land. Okay. So and then the relationship between hectares and meter is that 10,000 meters squared or square meter makes 1 hectare. 10,000 meters squared makes 1 hectare. So if 10,000 meters squared makes 1 hectare, definitely 80,000 meters squared will be 80,000 divided by 10,000. So the 4 zeros behind 10,000 will cancel the 4 zeros behind 80. So and then our final answer is going to be 8 hectares. So the area of the remaining farmland, or the area of the remaining land in hectare is 8 hectares. And that is that about question number 1. So let's proceed to question number 2 for the day. Now, question number 2. Question number 2 says, if a farmer sold 2/3 of 60 eggs to a merchant and took home 1/5 of the remainder for consumption, how many eggs are left for sale in the farm? Okay, now if a farmer sold 2/3 of 60 eggs, so I'm going to underline this part, 2/3 of 60 eggs to a merchant. So I'm going to use this keyword merchant as my tagline or tag word. So I'm going to write merchant. That means I'm using merchant as a word tag to calculate 2/3 of 60 eggs that was sold. So 2/3 of 60 eggs was sold to a merchant. So the merchant's, the amount of eggs or the numbers of eggs that was bought by the merchant is 2/3 of, will become times of 60 eggs. Okay, 2/3 of 60 eggs was sold to a merchant. So this is the merchant. So I'm going to say 3 in 3 in 1, and then 3 goes in 60. You're going to have 20, because 3 in 6 is 2, and 3 in 0 is 0. So 2 times 40, we are going to have 40. So 40 eggs were sold to the merchant. And then the question proceeds to say, and took home 1/5 of the remainder. Take note of the remainder here. 1/5 of the remainder, meaning that we have to find the remaining eggs after 40 eggs being sold to the merchant. So I'm going to type that as remainder. Remainder equals to the total eggs are 60. So 60 minus 40, the remainder is certainly 20 eggs. So, and then they said the farmer took home 1/5 of the remainder. So I'm going to write home. And it's the amount of eggs, or the numbers of eggs that was taken home. So home, 1/5 of the remainder. Of will become times of the remainder. We now know that the remainder is 20 eggs. So 1/5 of 20 over 1. 5 goes in 5, we have 1, and 5 goes in 20, we have 4. So in the numerator, we have 1 times 4 and 1 times 1 in the denominator. So certainly, there are 4 eggs, or 4 eggs were taken home. Now, proceeding on to the next question, to the next part of the question, it says, how many eggs are left for sale in the farm? So how many eggs are left for sale in the farms? Okay, so I'm just going to tag that as for sale. I'm going to tag that as for sale. So how many eggs are left for sale in the farm? Since 40 were sold to merchants, and then 20 of the remainder of this 20 of this 40, 20 eggs were sold, 20 eggs were remaining, and then 1/5 of the eggs was taken home, which is 4. So that means altogether, to know the numbers of eggs that are left for sale, we're just simply going to add what was sold to the merchant and what was taken home. So what was sold to the merchant is 40. Sorry, pardon me. We're just going to add the numbers of eggs that was sold to the merchant and the numbers of eggs that was taken home, and then we take it away from the entire egg, that is the initial entire eggs, which is 60. So that is going to be 60 minus, I'm going to open the bracket for the addition of the eggs sold to the merchant, which is 40 eggs, and then egg taken home for consumptions, which is 4. So 40 minus 4, sorry, 40 plus 4, and that is going to be 44. So I'm going to add 60 minus 44, and that is going to give us what? 16 eggs. So 16 eggs were left to be sold on the farm. Okay, so let me write that here. So the numbers of egg for sale is equals to 60, which is the entire egg, minus what was sold to the merchant and what was taken home, which is 4, and then we have 60 minus 40 plus 4, that gives us 44, and then 44 taken away from 60 will be left with 16. So 16 eggs were left to be sold on the farm. And that is that about question number 2. Let's move on straight to question number 3. Now, our third question for today, which will also be our final question for the 10 of our 30-day journey of fractions. Okay, so the question says, a livestock farmer has 260 cows. He sells half of them and gives 1/5 of what is left to his twin sons, how many cows is gifted to each of the twins? Okay, now a livestock farmer has 260 cows. That means the total cows are 60. He sells half of them and gives 1/5. He sells half of them. So I'm going to tag that as cattle sold. Cattle sold equals to half of them was sold. Okay, half means 1/2. So half of what? Half will become times half of 260 cows that the farmer has. So half of 260, and that will be 2 and 1, 2 in 260. That is going to give us 130. So half of 260 cows is 30. Now, he sold 30 cows and then gives 1/5 of what is left. 1/5 of what is left. Take note of what is left. So after selling 130, 1/5 of what is left. So what is left is certainly 130, because if you take away 130 from 260, you'll be left with 130. So 1/5 of what is left was given to his twin sons. Okay, so I'm going to write twins shares. Twins share. Okay, 1/5 of what is left. What is left is 230, because as I said earlier, 260 minus 130 that was sold, we will still be left with 130. So 1/5 of 130 cows was shared to the twins, was given to the twins. So 5 here, 1, 5 in 13, that will certainly give you 2. 5 times 2 will give you 10. If you take away 10 from 13, you'll be left with 3. So I'm tagging 3 at the back of 0 here. So we are going to have 30. So 5 in 30, that will give you 6. So that means that 5 in 130 is 26. So 26 times 1 will be left with 26. So that means the twins are meant to share 26 cows. Okay. So now the question now proceeds and says that how many cows is gifted to each of the son, each of the twins rather. So each of the twins, how many cows was given to them? The twins are 2 pairs of individuals or 2 pairs of children. So if we are asked to calculate how many cows is gifted to each of the twins, we just simply divide the numbers of shares or the numbers of cows given to both of them by 2. So I'm going to write each twin or each son. Each son is going to have 26 divided by 2, and then that means each son or each of the twin is going to have 13 cows. So because 2 here 1, 2 in 26, that is going to give us 13, because 2 in 2 is 1 and 2 in 6 is 3. So each of the twins is going to have 13 cows. So that is it about question number 3 and today's episode of day 10 of our 30-day journey on fractions. As usual, support my ministry and be kind, be generous enough to just click on the subscription button below this video to get notified of more academic and educative lessons like this, and of course of subsequent video after this. I will see you in the next lesson. Thank you.